The Randy Gregory selecting to go to the Mile High Stadium is news that we can all point and look at and say, man, the Jones family got greedy. I feel you guys that's agreeing with the Jones family, but I also feel the Randy Gregory camp. They had the deal in place, and they tried to touch it again. And sometimes it's good to deal with the deal that you got, and that is what happened, unfortunately, for the Jones family, and as well as with the Randy Gregory contract. Now, here's the thing. You still have Chandler Jones out there, and you still have Jadeveon Clowney. One can argue Von Miller. Now, Chandler Jones, he did have 11 sacks last season, as well as Jadeveon Clowney had 11 sacks. So if you want to add that into the mix, I think that the Cowboys do have enough money to take a real good look at those guys. But they don't have to really rush into a contract. They can enter into the draft and say to themselves, they read up Dorrance Armstrong, I believe, and also they already read up DeMarcus Lawrence. Everything is still straight. It's just that the Denver Broncos, boy, oh boy, they got away with one of selecting and picking up good old Randy Gregory because of the language within the contract. That is crazy, but it is what it is. So at this point, it appears that the Denver Broncos, it may seem as if though the Denver Broncos also will be looking into the La'el Collins situation. Now, that is another situation that the Cowboys going to have to fight out and battle through, as well as the situation with Randy Gregory now being over there in Denver land, right? So Denver Broncos got they hold the Cowboy players to high regards. Remember Ron Leary, remember DeMarcus Ware. So they like the Cowboy players, and they like what we do as it relates to drafting and everything else. But this point right here, I believe that the front office dropped the ball because this is a very workable deal. $70 million, but the $28 million being guaranteed, stretched over 5 years. For that amount of money, it wasn't going to hurt the Cowboys to sit them back, and they was going to put and prorate some of that money to help the salary cap out as well. Believe it or not, that type of deal, you can prorate, you can do a whole bunch of things. So the next thing we can do is sit back and wait and relax. My phone is ringing off the hook over here. But Cowboy Nation, post me your thoughts, post me your concerns. Did the Jones family meddle too much? Was that a situation in a scenario that they should have sit back and looked at it and said, you know what, let's not be greedy? And they was greedy with it. It says clearly here, for the record, Randy Gregory accepted much less money to agree with terms of the Cowboys. At one point, the gap between their offers and the others were roughly $4 to $5 million. They closed the gap enough, not completely, to the point that he agreed. Done deal, the Cowboys got cute at the end. And that's just how this goes, Cowboy Nation. So at some point, they're going to have to look at how they handle the players and how they handle the agents. And the players talk to each other. They flat out do. They talk to each other. And they may say to themselves, hey, you see what happened to Amari Cooper. You see what happened to the other players. Those vulnerable years at the end of the contract and some of the contract language sometimes can be a stopgap with these players and their mindset on who they decide to stay with. Let that sink in.